The support for Jimmy Kimmel and the outrage over Donald Trump's authoritarian silencing of his late-night nemesis continues to build. And coming up next, I have The View, John Oliver, and Howard Stern all coming in hot in something I like to call...
Trending.
The featured clip in this report is Howard Stern lowering the boom on his one-time friendly and always inappropriate guests, so you'll want to stick around for that. But first up is The View, who has taken a lot of flack for being silent on the topic because it's a show that shares space with Kimmel on ABC and shares Trump's vengeful ire. They're not silent anymore.
The government cannot apply pressure to force someone to be silenced. And you may be surprised to see who agrees with us at this table.
Absolutely inappropriate. The government's got no business in it, and the FCC was wrong to weigh in, and I'll fight any attempt by the government to get involved with speech. I will fight.
He says, we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way.
Yeah,
and I got to say that's right out of Goodfellas. That's right out of a mafioso coming into a bar going, "Nice bar you have here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it." I like Brendan Carr, but we should not be in this business. We should denounce it.
So you understood what all that was. He was doing a lot of voices and stuff, but it might have gotten lost. But basically, both sides and the middle of the aisle are saying, you don't do this.
Right. You know, freedom of speech undergirds our democracy. And our founders were very, very clear on that. Our founders drafted the First Amendment specifically to protect the rights of citizens to criticize the government. Thomas Jefferson, in particular, said the citizens must be able to criticize public officials because, quote, they will try to impose their own opinions and modes of thinking on others, end quote. And the Supreme Court, time and time again, has reinforced its support for the law of the land, the First Amendment.
Next up is John Oliver, who explains why his show is more insulated from Trump's revenge than Kimmel's, and then he loses it when he realizes that's about to change. Have a look, and then Howard Stern has something prolific to say.
If the government can force a network to pull a late-night show off the air and do so in plain view, it can do a fuck of a lot worse. And I should say, we are very lucky at this show to be in a different situation. We're not on broadcast TV, we're on cable. And our parent company, Warner Brothers Discovery, doesn't own broadcast networks, meaning that we are much less susceptible to pressure from the FCC than, say, ABC's parent company, Disney, or CBS's parent company, Paramount Skydance. That is obviously very good news for us. And I really don't see why that situation should change anytime soon.
We are back with what could be a colossal media merger, according to people familiar with the matter. Paramount Skydance is preparing a bid to buy Warner Brothers Discovery.
Okay, look. It was fun while it lasted, guys.
And next up is the always outspoken Howard Stern, who appears on satellite radio these days. I looked it up, and satellite is regulated by Trump's FCC, but that doesn't stop Stern from calling out the blatant overreach and coming to Kimmel's defense.
You know ABC threw Jimmy off the air. I don't know what their plan is, but it looks like they might be firing him, and then I read sometimes that they're not going to fire him. I don't know. I have spoken to Jimmy. I didn't ask him these questions. I just asked him how he was doing personally. I just know when the government begins to interfere, when the government says, I'm not pleased with you, so we're going to orchestrate a way to silence you. It's the wrong direction for our country, and I should know. I've been involved in something like this. And now ABC is put in the same position. And it's unfortunate that ABC even has to be in this position. They shouldn't have to be in this position. I feel for them, too, in this. But that someone's got to step up and be fucking saying, hey, enough, we're not going to bow. Now, it might sound stupid, but the thing I did, this morning I'm canceling my Disney Plus. I'm trying to say with the pocketbook that I do not support what they're doing with Jimmy.
Yesterday, during Charlie Kirk's memorial ceremony, yes, a memorial ceremony, Donald Trump went out of his way to remind the world of how his tiny and dark mind operates.
That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent.
Revenge and retribution never leaves his mind, and of course Jimmy Kimmel is among his mortal enemies. In The View, John Oliver and Howard Stern surely appear somewhere on his enemies list that by now must be contained in an overflowing 3-ring binder. Trump's obsession with Kimmel is much worse than just a grudge. His pressure on ABC to suspend Kimmel is that of an authoritarian who wants to silence voices that criticize. And the threat this poses to free speech and broadcasting cannot be overstated. Late night has always played a role in poking the powerful, from Carson ribbing Nixon to Jon Stewart crushing Bush, and Gutfeld on Fox took lots of shots at Obama and Biden. If Donald Trump can force the networks into muzzling their hosts, the future is very chilling. Every satirist, commentator, and journalist will be forced to wonder, if I say this, will I be the next target of revenge? Trump's fixation on Kimmel is not about a bruised ego. It's a test run for how far he can bend our democracy to suppress the dissenting voices of those enemies he hates. I'm Dan. Thanks for watching. Please leave your thoughts with a comment below, and let's continue to occupy democracy together.